Hello everyone, here we are back again with another replay of Mechabellum. I'm Partyfoot here playing a game this afternoon. We're going to pick up some Tarantula Void Eyes. And our opponent's also going Tarantula, so we'll start off with that mirror. I've been very intrigued by Void Eyes. I kind of like the idea of these kind of slightly distributed DPS units that are cheap. It's been hard to make them work a lot, but they seem decent if your opponent has some decent targets for them to shoot at and they remain safe. Although they actually are pretty tanky too in some circumstances. So yeah, it's hard to exactly quantify them still, I think. But here, I think we're going to use them quite well. So let's see how this goes. We kind of went for a diagonal position, attempting to kind of face maybe a more central potential position out of our opponent. But they actually also went into a headbutt scenario with us, right on the line. So we actually do have to walk forward a bit, and our whole pack of crawlers goes down in the initial exchange, which isn't so good for us. Losing our Tarantula pretty quickly. The Void Eyes are trading back onto one of their Tarantulas, but with 3 snipers, that's going to take down our force, and we lose round number 1. I don't know why I didn't expect for him to take an aggressive position. You know, I did with a very similar pack. So, there you go. Interesting to see. Having a look here, quite intrigued by the Fire Badgers. Phoenix is always nice. Farsi is always nice. A level 3 Arclight's kind of okay, still. I went for the Fire Badger, and my opponent goes for the Farseer. So I was thinking, if we clear this chaff nice and quickly, I feel like these Void Eyes are probably going to outperform the snipers. I call them snipers every time. They're marksmen, but you know what I'm saying. Our opponent puts down the Farseer in the back, and we get our marksman specialist, level 3 marksman. Our opponent, of course, is a fortified specialist, a little bit more tanky than me. Potentially where some of the potential efficiency gain of having Void Eyes over snipers might start to kind of be reversed by that extra HP. Fire Badgers. Incinerating. Oh, look at that. That is brutal to see. This game does not hold back sometimes. And we've actually turned the tide significantly. This is extremely nice. Look at this formation. Tarantulas tanking, walking ahead, clearing any chaff. Void Eyes in the back, locking onto anything big, shooting it down. Really nice. I really like this positioning from these units and the range combination. Let's see what we get next round. Orbital Bombardment is offered, as well as Smoke Bomb. Our opponent skips. And I'm thinking Orbital Bombardment's pretty good. I don't want to get Orbital Bombardment. It's kind of more expensive now. I also skip. I think the thing to make Void Eyes work is they really do need levels. So, hopefully, and I think that is the case, I am fairly aggressively going to pick up these levels as we go through. Our opponent continues to invest in nice single targets. Another Tarantula, as well as another Farseer coming in. And this sniper's been doing okay, getting a decent amount of damage. Who's really been performing on our squad here? This Fire Badger placement was good. Really clearing out the chaff and doing a lot. Our opponent goes for shield on round 3, whereas we spend that money, or at least part of that money, on range, which is going to be nice for us. Keep our Tarantulas back, although this will mean our Void Eyes will walk in front. Pack of crawlers on the side actually tank a missile and don't all go down, which is an interesting little nice thing there for us. Our high-level marksman is taking out their Tarantula quite quickly, but Farsi are fulfilling a similar role on their side, adding quite a lot of damage to our units. Farsi are also able to splash those Void Eyes by the look, so definitely a much closer battle this time. It's going to come down to the skill duel between the marksmen. And a bit of a slower shot, but he takes his time, lands it. They can't miss. Actually, I don't know. Are there any mechanics in the game where you can miss? I don't think so. I'm sure maybe in the future they're going to add it. Smoke makes you reduces your range rather than anything else, so not really anything like that. We do get the range for the Void Eyes now. So 140 to 120, they'll sit just a little bit behind these tarantulas, which should be quite nice. Go for another tarantula and another set of Void Eyes on this side. Just wanting to put a little bit of pressure on this tower and kind of get this ball to open up a little bit. These snipers getting some levels. Could be a DPS threat. Definitely, like, discouraging us from going into air too quickly. We do drop a missile on this pack here, which should... No, I don't think it'll take out the marksman there at all, will it? It will just maybe clear up some of that chaff. Now he's bringing in sledgehammers. He wants to lock on quickly to these quite far forward fire badgers and start taking those down. They were quite effective last time. Oh well, a little bit less so in the last round specifically, but still clearing out a lot of his chaff and being a bit of a nuisance. So this one placement is a little bit more confusing. He didn't know about this, of course, but in front of the crawler pack, I mean, I guess he's looking to clear that through pretty quickly, which does indeed happen thanks to his tarantulas, which do have that high explosive upgrade for that extra splash. Look at these Void Eyes, though. They're really doing a great job with the range, taking down, and they're quite good against snipers. It's definitely not going to be too close if we had a large number of Void Eyes facing off against their snipers. Okay, we're getting a bit of momentum now. Couple levels. We do see some Wasps offered. Quite nice. Chaff aerial. I decided to go for the Typhoon. Big and beefy. Level 3 is quite nice on the Typhoon. What does our opponent choose to go for? I think he chooses to go for the Wasps. And that is indeed the case. Level 2 Wasps. Also, yeah, perfectly good choice. Although, of course, the Typhoon is decent into that. As a reflex, I press the barrier button before, you know, any thought could pass through my mind to warn me against it. And I just want to grab this barrier because now the Saber's initial shots will be sinking into these big shields, which will take the shields down pretty quickly. But that means that these Badgers will be taking a lot longer to go down and clear out basically these initial packs quite well, hopefully. These shields basically just good for doubling the HP, or just about doubling. 8,000 per level, almost doubling the HP of this unit, as well as, you know, potentially catching attacks on adjacent characters like this one here. Wasps coming into a forward position. They are directly above our Typhoons, basically, as this battle gets joined. The Saber goes down quickly. None of our Badgers going down, which is nice. The Badgers are still around in order to take out this second pack, although the Tarantula does tank pretty well. We get some of the chaff coming in. All the Wasps are dead. And these level 3 Typhoons doing an insane job of DPSing down. Our opponent did reinforce the side, frustrated by what we'd placed there in the previous round, adding a double pack of steel balls. But his main force had folded before he was able to make it through our Tarantula Void Eye combination over here, so we still managed to prevail. And look at this, still in formation. Such a good combination of ranges and a good combination of units, I think. So tempted to go for the range. It's so expensive. You know, I don't know if it's really worth it. Maybe in certain duels where it turns the tide, it's probably not worth it a lot of the time. Oh, so tempting, though. Think about these guys with extra range. If only you could get range on Typhoons. Missile coming down on this flank to try and clear out this stuff over here. Adding in some fangs to tank those balls while... You know, these Void Eyes should be reasonably good at munching through these balls. Once the Tarantula's dealt with all of the crawlers, of course. Just adjusting the missile here because we expect these balls to come in towards these fangs, so let's see how many of those we can get. This Saber did actually level, so it did pretty well. And a War Factory out of our opponent. Again, did not see that coming. With the photon coating as well, that could make it quite good. He's gone for the efficient maintenance, so he's potentially expecting to get more than one War Factory. I didn't notice this in the game, of course. He has sold out of those Wasps. I think, you know, there's not much else to do unless you're valuing the chaff that the Wasps are providing. if they go down so quickly to something like these Typhoons, they're just providing experience, so really. Balls all locked on to the Fangs. That's good. Our Void Eye is doing a good job smacking these balls, getting the damage in. The photon coating is quite nice. And, you know, the War Factory is so far being distracted by chaff, but is going to... Well, there's another nice timing on this wave of crawlers. Unbeknownst to us, coming in at a really good time to distract the factory. And this concave of Void Eyes, trimming it down. Actually, blind countering, really. Enhancement module from our opponent. It's pretty expensive. If you don't have a plan for this item, it's not that good. Maybe you could put it on the Saber, do a level up sell. That could work. But he doesn't have a second unit to level. I don't know if that's going to be worth it for him. Especially with him being on the ropes now. And I go for another Typhoon to pop over to this side. As well as some Fangs to support that as well. And our opponent gets range on the factories. And a second factory. Shields. Lots of expensive stuff over here. I've not really been too guarded myself. I do have a missile. But I've placed it back on his chaff. Trying to just thin out the herd, so to speak. Because our chaff clear is, well, okay with these tarantulas. But our Void Eyes are doing the damage. And they really won't be dealing well with Crawler. We do go for Fire Badger range and another pack of Fire Badgers. I don't know if that was a great move. We did, I slightly did worry that we might get overwhelmed by chaff. I was still feeling pretty confident in this Void Eye section, especially now that we've got Charge Shot. Charge Shot is going to really start getting good impact. These units are already doing a good job, you can see. Many of them leveling and getting tens of thousands of damage. And this flank is now getting pretty much entirely defeated. Meanwhile, these Void Eyes really picking up a lot of damage. 8,000, 9,000, nearly 9,000 damage per shot out of these guys with a Charge Shot. Just chunking down these big tanky units. And there we go. A round 7 win using Void Eyes and Charge Shot. So I was pretty happy with that. Just, you know, a quick game. Maybe a little bit one-sided. Our opponent did use quite a lot of consumables. And spent a little bit too much money maybe on this enhancement module, which really... In fact, he didn't even... Did he get a level out of that? I didn't see, but I don't think he had a level on this Tarantula. And the Typhoon, level 3 Typhoon's doing a pretty good job of countering up those wasps that he tried to bring in. As well as these Void Eyes doing really, really good damage. All of the Void Eyes getting decent numbers throughout this battle with the Charge Shot and, you know, avoiding going for the aerial mode. And I think, you know, you could hold aerial mode in reserve, and if our opponent was to, you know, really, I don't know, build up more war factories to try and counter this, we just go air, and then we suddenly win the round, right? I mean, just be careful that it does reduce your range, so suddenly they'll get much closer to getting into the danger, and they'll get there faster and all that such jazz. But yeah, felt like a good game this time. Level 3 tower in the back. Maybe our opponent didn't have big plans to flank, so maybe a bit expensive, but always nice to have a little bit something in the back. And yeah, thanks for joining us for another recording. That's Partyfoot signing out.